It seems once again that MrBeast is being accused of scamming his young audience with his announcement of the Creator League. But this time I think it might be a little misplaced. Well, I think a lot of the blame is being misplaced. He's still involved, but not directly. So if you haven't seen MrBeast's latest video, in the video there was an ad for this thing called the Creator League. But I actually missed the ad because the ad was in his latest video and I had sponsor block, so I skipped right over it and didn't even see it.
Doing this, I want to tell you guys about Creator League. It's a gaming league brought to you by eFuse and 8 of the biggest gaming entertainers in the world. It's like having a front row season ticket, but you're not just watching. You're actively drafting teams, changing strategies, and sharing in the reward.
Oh my God!
And when I first heard this, the thing that jumped to my mind was, didn't we already do this? Didn't we already do this with like fan-controlled football? Like I remember this happened a couple years ago. Like Kind of Funny was the people who owned the Wild Aces who ended up winning the first championship, and it was going good. And then I believe, I could be misremembering this, but I believe in the 2022 season, they announced that NFTs were going to start being part of the season. And that's when a bunch of creators ran away from it because everyone knows NFTs are scams, or that's like the thing it's been branded as, right? But I was curious, so I went and I watched the actual announcement video, which is very generic. And essentially, if you want to know what it is, think of The Voice, but for esports. A bunch of like top creators were paid to be like team leaders, and then they'd have open qualifiers that you could compete in. And then whoever came out on top, the creators would be able to like draft these random players onto their team, and then fans could vote on what to do with the team, blah, 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 blah. And before we get to the controversy, something I also noted is this was announced on a MrBeast video, which has 58 million views, while the trailer for it that was promoted in it only got 14,000 views. It only got 282 subscribers, and the other videos that were published on the same day didn't break 1,000 views. So I really hope they didn't pay a whole lot for that MrBeast ad. But where does the controversy come in? So almost immediately after the video was posted on Twitter, people started pointing out that it is an NFT scam. And then there was quickly pointed out shortly after, when MrBeast was getting backlash, that, hey, MrBeast is not actually involved at all. He was just paid for the ad. And if you pay a pass for this Creator League, you get a box of chocolates. He's not running the league. He's not a part of it in any way. He was just a paid spokesman, so it's not his fault. Which you can kind of argue that maybe you should be taking a closer look at the partnerships you make, because when you have a past of promoting crypto scams, you may want to tread a little more carefully. Because like a little over a year ago, he promoted refinable crypto, which the day it dropped went from a value of $8 to the next day being worth less than 2/3 of that. So that was like an obvious like pump and dump scheme that he unknowingly or knowingly promoted. So whatever you're going to think of MrBeast promoting this, that's up to you, right? But what about all these other creators who are actually working with Creator League and were planning to do multiple broadcasts with them? Well, they're also running as well. CDogVA came out saying like, hey, I had no idea that this had anything to do with NFTs. I've been very vocal about hating this tech. If he would have known that it had NFTs, he would have never agreed to it. He messed up, he's sorry, but he's going to try to part ways with them. And then Tips Out, the owner of OTK, also said pretty much the same thing. Found out about Creator League being with crypto. We weren't ever told this had anything to do with NFTs or cryptos. We're reaching out to them to figure out what is going on. But then people started pointing out, hey, OTK is blatantly lying, because you go to their main Twitter and they link right to the NFT site, which in my opinion is like super disingenuous. Because I went to the site and I read everything there was to read. I read all this BS about what you get with your $20 pass. Like, ooh, I get a box of Feastables. Amazing. I read all the fact. I went to like the learn. I even like skimmed the terms of service. I did like a keyword search, and I tried to find anywhere where it mentions anything to do with crypto or NFTs or like Web3 or anything, and I could not find it. It turns out the only way the public would know that it was an NFT or crypto is when you try to refund, is when it started talking about a coin. So if you just bought this, you may have not known anything to do with it. And you may also be thinking, like, what kind of creator agrees to do this type of thing without doing your due diligence and figuring out like what's behind it and how the business model works? I think we can kind of get into the heads of the creators on what they were thinking.
I saw MrBeast. I instantly said yes. And do you expect me to say anything else? Of course I said yes. It's MrBeast. That guy's really fucking cool. So of course I said yes to it. Yo. What do you expect?
And like that's a really bad look because MrBeast isn't involved at all. He just got paid to promote it. So maybe do a little more due diligence to figure out who is actually involved with the product and who's not. And to make things a little more complicated, the guy behind this project came out and said that all the creators knew. They're lying to you. They said they had creator briefings, contract signings, they made content for the announcement, but they're claiming they had no clue it was on the chain. It's like complete BS. And that may have worked, but just to show how smart these people are, they did a Twitter space. And I didn't record it, so I don't have it. You just got to take my words for it. You can also find people talking about it online. But in the Twitter space, they were first like shitting on Connor a whole lot because he was the first person to like back out, and they're blaming him, saying like, oh, he's gonna destroy the league. Like this is all his fault. But then they also let slip that, yeah, none of the creators knew that NFTs were involved at all. So not only are like the fans potentially getting scammed, the creators are also getting scammed because they had no idea. But after reading the site on and what like the pass does and everything, I'm like, how is this a scam? You're just essentially buying a ticket that gives you like some benefits. Like, where's the scam? And luckily, people on Twitter are smarter than me. And this guy has been in the esports scene for a while, and he kind of explained it like this. Creator League gets paid in Near tokens. Near is a token. It's confusing because of the name, but it's essentially a crypto token. And to convert it into cash, they need other suckers to join the Near ecosystem to buy their tokens so they can turn it into dollars. Creators come in and unknowingly bring in their fans to join the Near ecosystem and help eFuse convert their stablecoin into real money, so they're left holding a stablecoin that will probably collapse. So to break it down, essentially this guy and this company got investments from a bunch of crypto bros who were giving millions and millions and millions of dollars in this coin. But this coin is useless and like has no value because no one is buying it. So instead of trying to sell the coin, they're selling these tickets for $20. But these tickets are actually backed by this coin. So essentially people are now buying this coin. So he's now changing this useless coin into real money. Now at the end of the day, I'm still trying to wonder why you needed like to involve the crypto coin at all. Why not just sell a normal ticket? You'd still be getting the $20 with less steps. Like there is other ways that like, oh, you can now like prove that there's like a demand for this coin, so this will raise the price of the coin naturally because there is this demand, so the price will go up, and then eventually you can dump all your coins on the market to people not involved with the Creator League or the fans at all, just to unsuspecting like Web3 people. But that's pure speculation. So what seemed like MrBeast and like all these other creators just blatantly scamming their fans by selling them crypto coins, it seems like creators were just being sloppy and got involved in a business that they didn't understand. Is that better?